couple weeks ago, I asked you to guess the mana cost of a Hearthstone card. You remember doing that?
Yeah, I remember.
Why are you going into this? Where's the
Because that was one of the most evil, sadistic videos you made me do. And don't worry, I'm gonna remember that.
Why are you coming at me like my League of Legends teammates, bro? You gotta relax. Today, what I've done for you is I have picked a card from each mana cost all the way from 0 to 10. I will not go above 10 here. Your job is to match the card to its mana cost.
Oh God.
And
all right. This is bad because this is like when you take tests in school and it's like when they design the questions like this, there's a chance you could just get 2 wrong if 1 is wrong. So that makes this messed up.
Now, when I recorded CGV last week, I did the same thing with like guessing the class. I don't know which one was harder. But you got mana cost regardless.
I think I did okay in the guessing the class one, if I recall.
Okay, I'm only showing you 1 card at a time, just so it's not critical information. Okay. And then at the end, you could take a guess when you see the card for the first time, but then at the end, if you want to
like rearrange at the end.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Oh boy. Yogg in the box. Cast 5 random spells. If your deck has no minions, the spells can cost 5 more. Excuse me, the spells cast cost 5 or more. Interesting. So you get to, if you basically play a no minion deck, and this is mage, then you could possibly like very high roll on this card.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I want to say this card costs 5 just because there's a bunch of 5s in it. And I feel like from a card design perspective, they would be like, yeah, this is cute. Let's keep the 5 theme going. So I'm going to say this is 5 to start.
You want to start with 5? Okay. I will say to you, I'm going to give you like context here. Just so you could start off as strong as possible. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm going to give you some context. Yogg Saron, the original Yogg Saron, and the 2 follow-ups with him are all 10 mana. Okay. Yogg in Puzzle Box of Yogg Saron, which was a card that came out a little bit before this, was also 10 mana, which that casts 10 random spells.
Okay.
Do you want to stay with 5?
All the more reason it's 5 because 5 is half of 10.
Okay. No, fair enough. All right. 7 with 5. Okay. Here's the next one.
All right. Fractured Power. Destroy one of your mana crystals in 2 turns, gain 2. This is a Warlock card.
This is a Warlock card. It's the first time Warlock's ever gone ramp.
I was about to say, like, this is ramp. That's so interesting.
Not very common.
Huh?
Yeah.
Is this new or is this old?
This is a newer card.
Oh, okay. I need to think about this. Let me hypothetically say this costs 3. So if it costs 3, you would play it, you destroy one of your crystals, so you're down to 2. You took your whole turn to do that. And then in 2 turns, you gain 2. So the next turn, you would go back up to 3. And then on the following turn, I'm assuming you would just go straight to 5? Yes. Or do you go to 6 because you gain 2 in addition to the 1 you would gain? You go down 1 mana the turn you play it, right? The next turn, the 2 after, you get 2 above it. So if you cast this on, you said 3 is what you said? Yes.
3, you would get 7 mana on turn 5.
You get 7. How does that work?
Because
if you have 3,
sorry, you have 6. You have 6. Sorry, you have 6.
You have 6. It's 6, right?
Yeah, you have 6. You have 6.
Because it's 3. It is ramp, but it's like delayed ramp. Cool card, I will say. It's like a very unique way to ramp, especially it's like very like Warlock fitting. Yeah, I will say.
Really cool card.
I feel like this has to be on the lower end because I don't think they would want to have expensive ramp. You get like diminishing returns on it. It's only ramping you 1 crystal overall in several turns. Okay, so like I'm gonna say this costs like 2 or 3 for now. I'm gonna put it in that
2
range.
or 3.
Neat card.
Okay, I will ask you when we get to the actual mana cost what you actually think of the card, if it's good or not. But obviously it's hard to tell because there's no mana cost. Okay, next card.
Right. Alarmobot. This is a 0/3 mech. At the start of your turn, swap this minion with a random one in your hand. That sounds very goofy.
It is incredibly goofy.
I imagine this has plenty of highlight reel moments on YouTube.
I would 100% agree with you with that one.
But how much would this cost? Because like the stats aren't particularly good. And like you need to have like some setup for this to be good as well. Like this card could just low roll and then it's like, I guess it goes back in your hand. So I guess you could keep doing it. There's no way this is like expensive. This has to be on the lower end. You said it's 0 to 10, so one of these does cost 0?
One of these does cost 0, yeah.
Okay, I don't think this costs 0. 1 mana for an 0/3, maybe? I can see 2 for this as well. I doubt this costs... This is messed up, man.
I did go through this and try to pick cards that would kind of trick your brain a little bit because you might
you shocker. I never would have imagined you would do something like that.
All right, here's your next card.
I didn't even say what I thought the alarm bot should be.
Yeah, I thought you said 2. I almost 100% sure you said 2.
Well, I was writing it. I'm in our Discord chat. No one can see this, but I'm going to put 1 or 2 for alarm bot. I think it's like it's in that range for me. 3 seems like way too expensive that you've never played. And maybe it's bad and no one does play it. Maybe it does cost 3. All right, what's the next one? Raise Dead. This is a priest and warlock shadow spell. I don't know if I've seen like these like
I haven't shown you dual class cards yet. Interesting.
Have you not? I feel like I haven't seen this like card.
I definitely showed you devolving missiles, which was like you fire 3 missiles and it de-evolves one of the opponents by 1 mana.
Was that a double? Was that a dual class card?
That was Shaman and Mage. So you definitely saw that one.
They're both blue, so maybe I thought it was just the same class, to be honest. Deal 3 damage to your hero. Return 2 friendly minions that died this game to your hand. Deal 3 damage to your hero. I like you have to take damage for this. That's interesting. Return 2 friendly minions that died this game to your hand. They go to your hand, which is interesting. I guess there's like maybe some cool stuff where if you only play certain minions and those die, like you can target what you're getting. Because in your game, this is all random. Where in our game,
this is random.
It's not.
Yeah. You definitely like you have the right idea, right? Where it's like 2 things die and you want specific.
It's like back. This is like a combo card. I feel like cute. All right, so I'm kind of like I feel like this can't be expensive. It goes to your hand, so maybe like I'm in like the 3 to 5 range, somewhere like that. I don't think it's like. I don't think you would. Could this be that cheap? No, I don't think so. Well, you take the 3 damage though, so maybe like because you take the damage, it's cheaper. I don't know. Getting to if it's like a combo thing. All right, I'm gonna go 3 to 5 on this one for now. I'm gonna get like ranges and then I'll stagger them later.
I got you. No, it's cool to see all the cards first so you can kind of like pinpoint it anyways.
Yeah, because it's hard. All right, Arena Patron 3/3. This is neutral. Overkill. Summon another Arena Patron.
Do you remember what Overkill does?
Isn't it like if you deal excess damage? So it's like if it has like 2 health, that's Overkill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Is this card good? This card doesn't seem particularly good.
I'm not going to answer that question until you see the mana cost.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. The mana cost could affect this. I'm kind of in like that 3 to 5 range again. Like there's no way that this card is more than that. Like this is not like a 6 or 7 cost card. That would be fucking terrible. I mean, it could be. Like you could be tricking me here and like everyone thought this card's busted. All right. I'm in like the 3 to 5 range on this one too.
Okay. Here's your next one.
Convoke the Spirits. Oh, it's Druid card. Busted. Cast 8 random. It is busted. Cast 8 random Druid spells, but it's random. Okay. God, maybe I have to go back on Yugioh box or whatever the hell. 8 random Druid spells. That's a lot of spells.
I'm going to give you some context on Druid spells, just so you know. Some of them just are burn, right? Like some of them just deal damage, right? You know, swipe, you know, like there's a lot of ramp, right?
There's the one that summons trees. I know that one.
There's a lot of token summoning the other ones is buffing. So remember, like order, even though this is random, like depending on how the order goes, this card could be really good or it could be like maybe the worst thing you've ever seen.
Right, of course.
There
Very Hearthstone-y.
I would say, I'm not trying to sway you in like any direction here. I'm just trying to give you like the full like idea here.
Sure.
Unlike Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, this card has almost like 0% chance to clear a board. I'm just gonna say that. Like it is
interesting because like Druid just doesn't have spells that
they're not known as like the removal class, right? Like they do have some removal, but it's not like Mage where you're flame striking, or it's not like Warlock where you have like Twisting Nether. Like they don't have a ton. If your opponent has more minions than you, there's a good chance they're going to receive the buffs as well, because a lot of the spells for Druid say like give a minion, not give a friendly minion. So if like they do have more minions, they have. So you got to remember like Druid spells can be really good, like you've seen, but ordering matters. If you're trying to go for a Hail Mary like Yogg was, it's not the same thing.
I think this is definitely gonna be on the higher end anyway, because it's Druid, and Druid has like some ramping capabilities, so they can like afford to like have stuff be like higher costed. I think for now I'll stick with the number matching theme. So I'll say this costs 8, but I think I'm gonna change that later.
The number matching.
It gives me just like it gives me a place marker for later.
Okay, sounds good. All right, here is your next one.
Parlay. This is a rogue card. Swap this for a card in your opponent's deck. Whoa, interesting. So they get this card, so they can use this back on you if they draw it.
Yep.
This would be like so funny, just like as a combo disruptor, because if you just like hit a card. But like, I feel like there's better cards at doing this, but it is very funny.
I think it's one of the benefits of Hearthstone being a completely virtual game. Like that's what it comes down to. It's
because
cool,
like you can never do this. Oh damn! Which card is the one that my opponent gave me with the different colored sleeves in my deck? Yeah, I can't tell. Yeah, you're right. No, this is like a Hearthstone thing, which is like when Hearthstone does stuff like this, I think it's very cute and fun because it's like we can't just do this in physical games. Like you could, but it just wouldn't work the same. This card can't be that expensive. Like there's no way. This is definitely lower end, but I feel like so many of my things are already lower end. This is gonna be tough. How much would I pay for this effect? Because like this, in theory, this effect is like not particularly great, and like I'm in like the 1 to 3 category for this one.
Reminder, by the way, you still have a 0 cost.
Right, and I'm thinking like maybe that could be the 0 cost, but we'll see. Maybe there's something else. Evergreen Stag, Druid card. It's a beast. 6/7, elusive, lifesteal, taunt. Elusive can't be targeted?
Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers.
It is a 6/7, so this is definitely gonna be on the higher end. The elusive, lifesteal, taunt. That's a lot of keywords. When was this card released?
This year, this expansion.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. Which means they could make this more pushed. It's also a common. So I'm thinking this is like a 6 or a 7 on first glance. It could be a 5 depending on like how pushed Hearthstone is getting now. But I feel like with all those keywords, I feel like it's more in like the 6 or 7 range. Okay. I'm starting to get a picture here. This is going to be so tough when we get to the end. Oh my God. Fan the Hammer. This is Demon Hunter?
This is Demon Hunter, yep.
Okay. Deal 6 damage split among the lowest health enemies. How does this work?
So if there's basically, let's just imagine you're always at 30 health here.
Sure.
If there's any minion that's on the board, it would only go, if there's one minion on the board, it would only target that. So you're basically doing 6 damage to a minion. If there's 2 minions on the board and one of them has lower health, it will target that one first. And then it'll see what other character on the board, what other enemy character on the board has less health. And then it'll start targeting that one. If 2 minions have the same health, like for instance, let's say they both have 3, it will randomly pick one because it's a 50-50 chance. And then it will do the remaining health damage to that one because it has now lower health than the other one.
Right.
This can go face, by the way. So if you are the lowest health enemy, you will do all 6 damage to the person.
That's funny. Okay. This is a neat card.
I agree.
You can obviously just have like destroy a minion, but that's like boring. This is like a very unique way. And especially like class wise, you have to like play around it. Okay. Fireball from Mage was 4 mana for 6 damage, right?
Yep.
And this is, how new is this? What year is this from?
This is 2023.
Oh, so not old at all. Very new. So if I'm going based off of the Fireball logic, but this is random. Well, it's not random. It's targeted for lowest health enemies, but it is still 6 damage. But we are in newer Hearthstone, so maybe we can get away with this being like 3. Okay, I'll go with 3 for now. I have a lot of 3s, unfortunately. This is going to be hard.
Okay, this is your last card.
The bulk of this video is going to be at the end. Tree of Life, another Druid card. Restore all characters to full health. Whoa. All characters. So characters, does that mean minions too, or just heroes?
Everything on the board and heroes get full healed.
Everything. Interesting. I feel like that has to be expensive, especially because it heals like you to full. I mean, it heals them to full too. This is such a weird card. Like, why would you play this? I
think the thought process of it was that you will be ramping, and then as you're taking damage from like an aggro board, you play this to hopefully catch up and not just die.
Right. So like if you're not, you might just not be hitting face. You might just be focusing on ramping. And so like at that point, it's an asymmetrical effect. Okay. I'll go with like 6+ for now. I think it's at least like in the top end, but Rarran, am I missing a card by chance? What's my last card? Humongous Owl. This is a neutral beast, 8/4. Death Rattle, deal 8 damage to a random enemy. Huh. Okay. When did this come out?
2021.
Okay, so new-ish. It's an 8/4 that deals 8 randomly, but it's a neutral, so that means the cost could be really bad. Okay, so this could also be in like the 7 to 10 range, I think.
Okay, that's fair.
So I guess I throw, granted there's 5 cards and there's only 4 numbers there, but I'll figure that out later. Oh God, this is gonna be tough, man. This is rough. Cause like none of these looking at them felt like a 10 cost, unless it's like the Yogg thing, like you were saying, but you could have just been baiting me. Well, like some of these are like, man.
Let's go back up. Let's go back up to Yogg. Let's discuss this. So now that you've seen every single card, right? How much do you think the Yogg costs now? Because again, you do know that there's one associated mana cost with each one of these cards.
Right. It's like, I think that makes it harder though, in a way.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Like, I'm looking at some of these and it's like, okay.
Well, I guess
which of these, okay, let's, go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe then starting in a row, like from the top back to the bottom.
That's what I was thinking, like, I'm going to start at like 10 mana and try to figure out what is going to cost 10 mana out of
that
all
also
these
works.
and kind of work my way down. Yeah.
Okay.
What would cost 10 mana? Definitely not Fan the Hammer. The Evergreen Stag, maybe, but that seems a bit much. Parlay, definitely not. Convoke the Spirits could be. It is 8 random Druid spells, and it is Druid. I guess also Tree of Life, maybe, but that also seems like a lot, especially if it's like you're trying to deter combo and stuff. I feel like it has to be slightly cheaper. Definitely not Arena Patron. Definitely not Raise Dead. Not Alarmabot. Not Fractured Power. So I think for the 10 cost, it's in between Yogg in a Box, the Druid version of it, or Tree of Life. I think one of those is the 10 cost. Am I going to take the bait and put the Yogg in the Box into 10? I have to like chunk these out, and I think that's going to help me out here. Okay. So that's where we're at for the 7 to 10 cost things. I guess it would be 6 to 10 because there's that many cards. So I'll do that. Okay. So then for the low end, I have Fan the Hammer, Parlay, Arena Patron, Raise Dead, Alarmabot, Fractured Power, and that's it. So all those are on the low end. Which of these costs 0, man? That's like the tough one. Maybe Parlay. Parlay being 0 is interesting because it's like it's a rogue card, so it enables combo. And like I feel like this card is just like you would never want to pay for this effect because like getting a random card of your opponent's deck, unless it's specifically targeted at comboing, is like this card is like not good unless there's like other application for it that I just don't understand. So if anything, you'd pay 1 for it. So like that's definitely like 0 to 1. So I think Parlay is probably 0. Then 1 cost. Maybe the Alarmabot. Maybe the Alarmabot's 0, to be honest. Would you want to pay for this thing? I guess it has like some weird synergy.
I mean, it cheats out like a ginormous minion.
Right, exactly. Like, it's not like the worst card. Okay, we'll put Alarmabot as a 1. Okay, we're making progress. We're making progress. Okay, what would cost 2? Fractured Power could cost 2. I think my logic for it's like you take a turn off, but then you tap the next turn. And then you get like all your mana crystals. Like that seems pretty good. I think Raise Dead probably costs more. I think Arena Patron costs more. Okay, let's put Fractured Power at 2. Okay, what costs 3? Raise Dead could cost 3. I really think Fan the Hammer costs 3. Like that just feels like a 3 cost card. It could be 4, but it feels like a 3. So let's go Fan the Hammer 3. We're making progress. We're making progress.
Okay.
So for 4, we're between like Arena Patron and Raise Dead. You said Arena Patron's newer.
Arena Patron is from 2018.
2018. When's Raise Dead from?
2020.
Arena Patron's just a rare, though. Like, it could just be a bad rare. Let's go Raise Dead 4. Arena Patron 5. That card's probably never seen play. Maybe an Arena. Okay, so now I'm at my 6 through 10 bunch. Because I still have Tree of Life, Convoke the Spirits, Evergreen Stag, Yogg in a Box, Humongous Owl.
Okay.
Unfortunately, going this route, my Yogg in the Box thing being 5, I would have to put like Arena Patron or Raise the Dead higher. I kind of want to do it for the meme though. It's kind of funny, especially if everything else is like 10 related. The 5 seems fitting. This is messed up, man. God, that's tough. Well, okay. Let's go back. What'll cost 6 here? Which of these feels like a 6 cost card? I think because the Stag is a common. That being a 6 mana 6, if that was like if it was like an epic rare, maybe it's like a 6 mana 6/7 or like a legendary. But the fact that it's common is kind of throwing me off a bit. I feel like it might be actually more expensive than I think.
Okay.
So I don't think that's a 6. Convoke the Spirits, maybe 8 random Druid spells. That's got to be more expensive. With a 6 mana 8/4 with a Death Rattle to deal 8 to something, would that be playable? Am I gonna put the fucking owl?
You know what?
6?
I'll tell you right now. This may skew you in the wrong direction. The owl was played.
Really? Interesting.
Again, I'd focus really heavily on the death rattle, obviously.
Yeah.
It was played because that death rattle could be abused.
Sure, of course. Especially with anything that like replicates death rattles or like if you reborn this, right, then it has 1 health and you can deal 8 damage to something else. Like, I can see it. Fuck it. Let's put the owl at 6. What if I go Yogg 7, which goes against my like 5/5 thing? Which I'm gonna be very sad if that's true.
Could you imagine?
Stag 8. 8 mana 6/7 with all those keywords for a common seems about right. And then it's what? Convoke the Spirits and Tree of Life. Convoke at 9, Tree at 10. Is that what I'm gonna go with? Maybe flip the Tree and Convoke. Yeah, maybe flip these two.
Okay.
Maybe the Tree is 9. I feel like they'd want it slightly lower so that you can recover from like aggro stuff. Am I happy with this order? So currently I have Parlay 0, Alarmabot 1, Fractured Power 2, Fan the Hammer 3, Raise Dead 4, Arena Patron 5, Owl 6, Yogg 7, Stag 8, Tree 9, Convoke 10. I'm tempted for the 5s. I'm tempted for the 5s just to put like Yogg at 5 and bump everything up by 1. So then Arena Patron becomes 6 and the Owl becomes 7. I think I still want to stick with my 5 thing. I really want to stick with the 5. I don't know why. I just have like a vibe.
Wait, so then shouldn't the Owl be 8 then if you're going to go for that? It doesn't 8.
No, so Yugioh becomes 5. Arena Patron becomes 6. That's probably wrong. Whatever. And then the Owl would become 7.
Okay.
If I do it this way. You said Arena Patron's like pretty new.
No, it's from Rosticons.
Oh, so it's old. Oh, I could see them making a 6 mana bad 4/4 or 6 mana 3/3 that summons a guy in an old set. Sure, that sounds terrible. All right, I'm locking it in. I'm locking this in.
You're locking this in?
I'm locking this in.
Okay.
Feel free to begin laughing at me.
I'll start. Lock it in. Brother, I've been laughing. I'll start at the. I'll go to the top of the first card I showed you. Okay. We'll start with Yogg in the Box. Oh,
so we're going to go in order of the cards you showed me.
We'll go in the order I showed you. You thought Yogg in the Box was 5 mana, which I guess you were only basing it off the numbers on the card because that would be absolutely fucking nonsense if they decided to print this card at 5. This card cost 8 mana.
8. Okay.
8 mana. And if it was only cast 5 random spells, I could probably see them printing it at 5, especially during 2023 Hearthstone because that's when this was printed.
I also thought with it being an epic too, like it's pushed, so like it could be lower costed than I was thinking.
I am going to tell you right now.
It's 5 random spells. I'm just saying.
For future videos, I would never base it off the rarity because they have no consistency whatsoever.
Excellent. Okay, good. I'm glad you told me that. Great.
But yeah, this costs 8 costs. I think it's because mainly if it's really easy to put it into a deck that has no minions, like they've already pushed like the spell mage is what it's normally called. And if it costs 5 mana, like it would probably decide the game that early on, and you probably don't want a random spell. At 8 mana, what do you think?
You tell me.
Well, you guess. That's half the video.
8 mana.
You tell me.
I mean, people just like Yogg. That's the thing.
People love Yogg.
I'm gonna go with yes.
If you're asking,
maybe they buffed it or nerfed it or something. I could see that too.
This card I don't think was ever like touched. If you're asking if it was played, it absolutely was. People, like you said, people love Yogg. Competitively, this card was really fringe in the spell mage deck. Weirdly enough, 5 cost spells, even though they do cost 5 or more, 5 cost or more spells, often in the current spell pool wasn't like phenomenal. So you would play this as like a last resort, but I wouldn't call it as consistent as like Yogg Saron. All right, Fractured Power. You put 2 mana crystals. That is correct. That is the exact mana cost.
Okay.
So it costs the same as Wild Growth, which I think is the idea behind it. But obviously with Warlock, they have to add like a self-sacrifice kind of mechanic. So it actually plays out just as you thought. You play this on 2, you wait 2 turns, and all of a sudden you actually have like a huge mana ramp out of nowhere. And like you could just tap on 2. You can play a second Fractured Power after the first one, which is extremely interesting.
Cool. Yeah, this is interesting.
Do you think this card saw play? Or sees play, I should say. It's currently in the game.
Ramp in Warlock. Warlock can afford to take turns off unless the game is just so fast that they can't. I feel like in old Hearthstone, this card would have 100% seen play. In like new Hearthstone, yeah, in old Hearthstone, that card would have been cracked. New Hearthstone, though, is it too slow? Or do you just want to like, can you not afford the time and you need to be like developing the board more? It might be too slow, to be honest.
I think that's a good spot to put it. It's not played in every Warlock deck, like Wild Growth basically is for like every Druid deck. If it's
Sure.
This is just if you really want to ramp and you're looking for something specifically, it's fine. But often if you draw this later, it feels horrible. And
late game, this card's terrible.
Yeah. you need like. Not only do you need it in like basically your opening hand, because I actually have no idea if it gives you like the card. Basically, I don't know if you know this. If you play Wild Growth at 10 mana, you get a card that lets you draw an extra card. Like it's 0 mana to draw a card.
Interesting.
I actually have no idea if Fractured works like that. I don't actually think it does because it destroys your mana crystals. So that means even late game, this card's bad. Or like the later the game goes on, the worse it's going to end up being for you. Okay, Alarmobot. What'd you put Alarmobot on?
God. Hold on. I put it at 1.
You put it at 1. You didn't ask me when this card came out, which I was shocked. This card's from Classic. It was in the original game, yes. And
no idea.
The whole point of this card is to cheat out a ginormous minion, right? Like Ysera is a really good one. So therefore, they have to cost this at a point where you can answer it and not just straight up lose the game. If it was 1, games would be decided by this card. Thankfully, it costs 3 mana.
It's 3? Holy
3 mana.
Shit.
Now, at 3 mana, do you think it's all play?
I think if you're memeing, I don't think it like saw like serious competitive play.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna start asking, do you think the card was good? Not to see play, because play is obviously harder.
It is good. I'm gonna go with no. Like no shot.
You're absolutely right. This card sucked.
Okay.
But if you did get the dream of summoning Ysera on turn 4,
you're gonna create that memory.
It was wonderful, and this is like the embodiment of what Hearthstone was. I think it was a really cool concept in Classic. It was easy to play around, and it was easy to build for. The most important thing about Classic compared to current Hearthstone as well is like there's less battle cries you really are worried about. Like, even if you summon, like, I don't know, Rag, right? It just felt really good because you didn't have to worry about the battle cry. You would never want the game to just be over on turn, like, 3 or 4, depending if you coined it out. Like,
buddy, you forget what game I play? Yeah, I'm just saying.
Listen, Classic was a wonderful time for Hearthstone, so I'm really glad they balanced it like that.
I don't know, like, okay, I'm going to push back on that. I feel like if this costed 1, which I feel like it probably should, if you cheat out some big thing, and that happens like 1 in every like, 10 games or whatever, because like you have the perfect hand and like that's what happened. I don't know. Like, I think that's fine. Yu-Gi-Oh has plenty of shit like that if that happens, like you just like lose. But it's like, if you're going to high roll, you high roll, like whatever. So I don't know. That's my take.
The counter argument for this is that Hearthstone was the introduction to card game players, like, for a lot of people, right? Like
that's fair. That's
so
fair. Yeah.
If you have a card that completely blows you out on turn 1 because you didn't have a removal, you probably had no fun that game. And if it happens to you too often, you're just not going to come back and play it. Ray's dead.
What did I put this at 3?
You put this at.
I put it at 4.
You put it at 4. Which is kind of shocking. I'm curious to hear your logic for it before I tell you what the mana cost was, because I know you looked at it. You thought it was like. I think you think it's a good card, and you saw the fact that you dealt damage to yourself. So why'd you put it at 4? What was the reason for it?
I feel like if you're on like 10, you like raise dead and you get your guys back, that it's like sort of like a combo piece. So I feel like it wouldn't be like so expensive. And I feel like in your game, maybe I'm wrong, I feel like there's like just plenty of ways to get guys back to your hand, like in one way or another. So it didn't seem like that unique of an effect, where it's like funny because in Yu-Gi-Oh, especially older Yu-Gi-Oh, it was actually like really hard to get stuff back from your graveyard to your hand specifically. Okay. And it had like really high costs in that way. But I felt like in your game, like this didn't seem like something that would like warrant being like above 5, in my opinion. It just seems like you would want to play this and then play the guys like on the same turn. You know what? That is almost exactly how the card was worked, or how this card worked. This card costs 0 mana. Really?
Yes. Before I answer why and how this card, like how good it was, how good do you think this card was?
Costs 0. I mean, if it costs 0, like, sure, that's great. I'm in.
This card was an absolute staple, and like every warlock
like if it's 0, so that's crazy.
You're thinking combo.
I never would have expected this would be 0. That's nuts.
Yes, that's exactly why I put this in here. So at 0 mana, I'll talk about the both classes because they both did it uniquely. In Warlock had a lot of ways for self damage to be relevant. If you take damage on your turn, this activates, right? Or if you if you have this minion, you take damage, you get mana crystals back. It's also really thematic too. Like the Warlock parts, the damage, returning the phenomenal
flavor
on this whole set. This whole set is actually really well done for the flavor. This card interacted in a bunch of different ways, but also for Priest and Warlock, just having your 1-cost minions die that do something and then getting them back immediately to resummon them is actually a pretty good thing to do. There's a lot of good 1-cost minions, and that's what it usually came down to. Now, often you could kind of manipulate it where it's like, oh, I only want this minion to die, so I only get this. You could do that. But often this would be tempo, or you're using this for the self-damage effect for Warlock. That was the 2 biggest things.
Interesting.
And at 0 mana, I could be wrong. It's one of the best cards from that set. It's one of the best cards of the year.
Understandably.
Very good card.
If it's 0, that's crazy. I never would have guessed this is 0. Like, this effect is so good that this being 0 is just like mind-boggling.
It is very good. Yeah. I'm actually shocked. I don't remember if it was nerfed. I don't think it was. I think there was conversations that people thought it should go to 1. But it was, obviously very good.
Even at 1, it's still nuts. Like, that's what I mean. Like, just like the power of this. Like, the fact that it's, like, again, minimum, I think I thought this card was 3.
Okay, Arena Patron, what'd you put it at?
Oh God,
6.
I put him at like 6.
You
something
actually
bad.
had it in the right spot. It's 5 cost.
It's 5. No, I nudged it just slightly. It felt like a 5, but I wanted the Yogg to be 5, so it makes sense. Okay, all right.
So
fine. I'm happy I at least got it right the first time before I nudged it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe he's doing this. Do you think this card was playable at 5 mana?
No.
You're absolutely correct. This card sucked. This was the card they tried to basically replicate Grim Patron from Blackrock Mountain, which I'm sure I've showed you the deck. If I have not,
Oh yeah, like
it
deck. Damages and like summons more guys.
Yeah.
I think I've seen.
So
that.
they wanted the same kind of concept. The problem is that
Overkill is not the same mechanic.
Overkill is a horrible mechanic. It is so bad, and because it's a 3/3, it's really difficult to get it. It never saw any play whatsoever. It was just a really, really bad card.
Even like in Arena, I don't even know if that card would be good.
It's probably the worst thing on the planet. You're not
right.
If a card doesn't give you immediate value or tempo and you need to go through this huge hoop for it to be good at 5, like no shot. Okay, Convoke the Spirits. You put it at 10 cost. Congratulations, you are correct. It was a 10 cost.
Really?
Spell.
Okay.
At 10 cost, do you think the card was good?
Is this newer? Are we in like less ramp druid?
2022. It had ramp.
I want to go with no.
You're actually right. This card, when people saw it, thought the same thing as Puzzle Box, which is why I brought it up. Druid spells, on average, kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like, you need a board. You need stuff for it to interact with on your side to feel good. There's not enough reason for you to cast a spell like this for 10 mana because often it didn't do anything. So, not great. Not a horrible card, but definitely on the more like fun side of things. Nothing close to Puzzle Box Yogg Saron. Nothing close to Yogg.
Sure, of course not.
It was like there if you wanted it, but often people just would omit it and wouldn't put it in their druid deck. So yeah. Okay.
Okay. Can I say parlay cost 1 even if I still get it wrong? Because if the other thing's 0, I feel like this has to be 1.
Yes, this one costs 1. I actually put when I was going through the 1 cost cards and I picked Raise Dead first because I went in order. I said, how do I trick them to think that like a 1 cost card is going to be 0? Because there's a fine line between 1 and 0.
That's how you did it.
And I saw parlay and I said to myself, this is a rogue card. You did bring up combo, which is great. Because you would play this card to activate the combo, you would steal your opponent's minion, you get our card, get in your hand, activate your combo, you do the same thing, and then your opponent can do it later. At 1 mana, like you could probably guess this card wasn't played. Why the fuck would I put this card in my deck to begin with?
This card seems horrible.
It's a cool, really well designed card. I wish it was 0.
Did it actually see play?
It did not see any play. No, it did not.
Okay,
not
of course not.
At 0, I think it would have saw play. I think there's a chance.
That's really interesting that it just the 1 mana difference would have actually made it playable. That's interesting.
For rogue, like if I'm casting this for 0 just to activate a combo and I potentially get a better card than this that I can play immediately, like I'm so much more for it, right? Okay, what is the next card I showed you? I showed you Evergreen Stag, which you put at 8. This card, I was trying to give you hints. It is 6 mana.
I thought it was going to be lower just because it was newer. It seemed like that would be the case, but yeah,
so
that's fine.
In Classic, there's a card.
I think I said 6 at first, actually.
You did.
I did.
That's why I said to you, maybe that's why I said the only hit I'm going to give you, it's on the nose. Like, that's what I said to you. There's a card in Classic called Boulder Fist Ogre. This card is a 6 mana 6/7. That was in the game all the way from Classic. That card.
I think I remember that from Arena. It's just a vanilla, right?
It's just vanilla.
It's just a guy.
It's a huge meme in the game, and people still think about it till this day that like 6 mana 6/7 Classic was actually really good stats for the cost.
Okay.
And 11 years later, they print Evergreen Stag with all these keywords, and because it's a class card, and class cards for future reference for you are generally better than neutrals. So they they costed this at 6. Do you think this card's playable at 6?
In Arena.
You are absolutely correct. I've never seen this card get played in Arena. From what I could tell, it's probably pretty decent.
It's pretty decent.
Okay, Fan the Hammer. Fan the Hammer is 4. You put it at 3.
4.
It's at 4, which is
okay.
You know what?
I think I can see it.
Your comparison to Fireball is a really good one. I think I would have 100% done the same line if I knew Fireball existed. Fireball 2014 deals 6 damage to a target, and it's 4 mana. How could one that's not guaranteed to do all 6 to 1 target be the exact same? It turns out the flexibility of Fan the Hammer actually isn't a bad card, because if I could still kill 2,
bad. Yeah.
If I could kill 2 minions with this, it's great. If I can actually kill you, even though like you have minions on board because you're the lowest health character on the board, fantastic. It also fit into like a spell Demon Hunter deck, which was the other reason maybe they printed at this, because at 3 it might be a little bit too good in that deck. But the card was completely fine at 4. Okay, which gives us Tree of Life and Humongous Owl. Tree of Life. I gave this card to CGB. When I did his. What do you think CGB thought this card cost?
I don't know. It's like weird, just because like the games are so different.
I'm pretty sure he said 5 mana. I'm pretty sure he said 5, which is unfortunately wrong. 5, this card would have been very good.
I was gonna say, 5. I think for 5, this card would be like insane. That seems like too good.
You put it at 9. Congratulations, you were correct. It was 9.
Really?
Cost. It was 9.
Wow. Okay.
At 9, even though you knew what this card is used for, do you think it's all play?
I see the argument for like the anti-combo stuff and just a way to like keep you in the game, especially if you like have it be asymmetric. But I feel like 9's still a lot. I feel like it's just like too much. I feel like if it was cheaper, it'd be playable. But 9 just seems like a lot.
You would absolutely be correct. Most of the time, Tree of Life was in your deck. It was unplayable. And there's the argument to be had as well that if you're ahead, this card does nothing for you.
It does nothing, right? So exactly.
That's the problem. Someone wrote in my comments when I did the CGB video that there was some like mill druid deck that ran this as you went into fatigue. I don't personally remember the deck, so if that was a deck, I'm sorry.
I could see that being an argument, sure. But like even then, that's still very niche, all things considered.
I would say the only time you really saw this is because Yugioh cast it. That's
funny. That's hilarious.
Which leads us to Humongous Owl. I already told you this card is playable. This card had a really disgusting combo because Warlock had a spell that let you add a death rattle of a minion that died already to all your minions. So you put this, you get the owl to die. Warlock has a ton of ways to self-sacrificing, and then you bring this death rattle of 8 damage to a random enemy to multiple minions, and all of a sudden your opponent's dead. Very cool deck. I don't know if I would call it a cool deck, actually. It kind of fucking sucked.
I was about to say, it sounds kind of miserable.
It was toxic, to be honest. This card was 7 mana. And
I got it.
The symptom of you pushing Yogg to 5 may have lost you Arena Patron, but it gave you the Humongous Owl at the right cost.
We make up for it.
That is all every card.
Okay, so I got 4 out of 10, I think. I got the Owl, I got the Tree, I got the Convoke, and I got the Fractured Power.
Yeah, you got 4.
I got 4.
You got 4.
How many CGB get?
Well, I haven't done CGB with like this type of video yet. So next time I do this, next time I record with you, it'll be the reverse. I'm going to give you the classes.
As long as I beat him, that's all that matters.
We'll have to see. I don't remember how well he did on that video, but I actually think you did. You know what? In hindsight, I do remember you did better than he did. And it's funny because people were writing in the comments how like CGB's game actually has mana. So the fact that you did better than him.
Exactly.
So it's funny that you did
I don't
better.
know. Maybe that lets me evaluate cards like a lot differently, right? Because like he might just be trying to do the 1-to-1 to like his game, where like our game's so different that I think it just gives me a different perspective. I don't know.
That's. I mean, you're not wrong, right? I think it's also like CGB.
But that's what makes this fun.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. CGB was like, I think for a lot of cards, he was like 1 mana off. Like he was very close to getting a lot of them. It's just, it doesn't translate 1-to-1 from Hearthstone to Magic because we have a base mana system and he has to play lands. So it's They have to kind of change
it's a little bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, that's this video. Hope it was fun.
Cool. It was fun. Yeah, this gives me an idea to torture you next time. So great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Hold on. I'm an absolute idiot. I forgot to show you one card.
Oh my God. I'm missing a card this whole time.
You're missing I forgot. You know why it's
Thanks,
not here?
Rarran.
Because I forgot to fucking Photoshop a card.
Oh my God.
Hold on. David, just splice this in when he's going through it. So it looks like there's
Poor
no
David. David's gonna be like, God damn it.
I was like, damn, I feel like there's one more card I didn't show you. And then,
damn, there's one more card I didn't show him. Weird. Okay. David, put this in at the end, like as like a blooper. For the people who stick around for the whole thing, they get to like get the behind the scenes. All right.